Hello class. My digital tool was Photoshop. An overview of Photoshop. Photoshop composes and edits photo images in multiple layers. It has a vast support for graphic file formats. It raster graphics and has limited abilities to edit and render text. The scenario I worked for my presentation was an art class where students are learning the relation of photography with art. Using Photoshop, the students will learn to create artistic works using this tool, photos, and their imagination to create creative images. In this specific presentation, I'm showing students how to fix the color of pictures, create layers, and putting a postcard together. This is the checklist I created for my digital tool. So I have to complete this checklist by answering the questions and giving a rate for each category. At the end, I'll take the average for all categories and decide if the tool will be effective. So I put the name, which is Photoshop, and the first category I choose students. And then I have the section for answering for the questions and then answering yes or no on the questions or maybe or other. And then I have the rate over here. So for the students, I gave a total of 13 points. And on my comments, I have students will use this tool at school only. House is not mandatory, but it's recommended they work on it. And computers and cameras are provided at the class. The second category, it's ease of use. Again, I have the questions. Is this a new technology or something the students are already familiar with? And I responded, not new. Yes, it's not new. The comments, there are newer versions available. And then I have my ratings. I have another question. How complicated is this technology to be used? How long would it take to learn it? Have introduction about 1 hour of class time. And then on my comments, I rated 3 points since this homework is optional. Another category is teaching functions. And then I have which instructional method is going to be used for teaching. And then it's a simulation, a problem-based, experiential, or direct instruction. And this one is going to be simulation because we're actually going to be doing some work hands-on on the computers. Then the media we're going to use are going to be computers, video, and photo. And then I have some other notes. Another category, it's interaction. And then is a class going to be split in groups? Sometimes, but for the most part, they are gonna work on their own. And how much time is the instructor going to use such technology tool during class? So it's gonna be 70% of the class. And are there going to be other forms of interaction like books, videos, tablets, external people, etc.? So we're gonna be using a book, which is digital photography. We're gonna put some videos through lynda.com. They have very good tutorials. And we're gonna do some field work, which is time that we're gonna use to take pictures. In the last category, it's networking. If we can share these pictures, if we can get feedback from other sources, etc. So overall, I rated this tool as 3.4 points out of 4. So I think it's a very strong tool to use. So I think, or I marked it as pass. The next video, it's a video on how to create a postcard. It's 15-minute video, so feel free to fast forward. We're gonna start using Photoshop. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna open Photoshop at the bottom. Here at the top of our computer we have the menu bar, and this would be the options bar, and then on this side, that's the options bar, and then on this side we'll have the tools panel. And then we have all the options. We're gonna start by opening our document. So we go on our menu, open, and then here I'm gonna look for a picture I want for my background. And for my background, I want something red, very vivid. So I'm gonna choose this one that I found, that I took at Winwood. Okay. On this one, I'm gonna go to my menu bar to adjust the color. Make sure I have a good color in that picture. I'm gonna go to levels and move this a little bit to the white part so the color is very vibrant. That I do often on all the pictures I have, just to enhance the color. So that's gonna be our first layer, and then I'm gonna add another layer. To add another layer, we just browse through our pictures and select one picture we like and drag it on top of our first picture, and then we have another layer on top of that picture. We select it, saying it's okay to stay, and then there it is on our layers. Here I'm going to make it active, and I'm gonna go to menu again. I'm gonna auto tone it and auto color. I didn't like the auto color. I'm gonna auto tone it, and instead of using levels, I just do it automatically there. And then I'm gonna use my tool to mark some parts that I want. On this side, I have all these tools that I can use, different tools that I can use to modify my picture, either to move it, to cut it, to select it, etc., and to change the colors. Okay, so for this one, I'm just gonna use the quick selection tool. What this tool does, it just marks all the pixels that are close together and select them in as a group. So as I'm dragging my mouse, it's selecting all the pixels that look like. Okay, now that I have my selection completed, I'm gonna go on my menu and do inverse, because what I want to select is the outside part of the picture so I can cut it. And then I hit delete, and it deletes the outside part, and it just leaves me the part I wanted on my layers. And I'm gonna use my move tool. I'm gonna grab that part and move it over to my left so it can be there. Okay, then I'm gonna use another picture. I'm gonna look for Poseidon and work on it as another layer. So I'm gonna select it and drag it over to my over here, and then I'm gonna say okay, that it can stay. And then using my quick selection tool, I'm gonna again going to select all the parts that I want only. So I just go over to his face, the bird, and it's gonna start selecting all that. We can also use the magnetic tool and other tools to select, and they work different, and it all depends what do we need. That's going to be a different tool that we're going to select. Okay, so I selected already. So now I'm going to do, oh, I have to make it active again. So I click OK. Active, so I can edit it, and then I cut it. I deleted the part outside, but if you notice, I don't like that area to be there, so I'm gonna cut it too. So I'm gonna use again my quick selection tool. I'm gonna drag my mouse around it so I can select all that part that I don't want, and then I'm gonna cut it, and that's it. So now this is another layer that I have on top of those layers, but this layer only contains that face. So now I'm gonna frame this postcard. I'm gonna fray the borders, so I'm gonna look for a picture um, that I can use it as a frame. So it doesn't look just like three pieces of uh, faces over there, but they also have frames. So I'm gonna use this one here. I'll drag it over again, and then I select OK, so it can stay as my layer. I'm gonna move it to centered, and then again I'm gonna use now another tool to select. I want to use my magnetic tool. That magnetic tool, it's gonna attach only to the pixels that are close to each other. So if you see, it differentiates in between the greens and the yellows, the yellow tones. On this one we have yellow tones, but we have more darker tones, so it's going to differentiate in between them and try to just grab the ones that are similar. I'm gonna go here to the side, and then go, once I close the circle, I just let it go or double click and it'll select it. So I'm gonna make this layer active, so I click in here and then I do inverse. Oh, but then I'm gonna do inverse again because I actually want to get rid of the part I selected. So there we go. I just deleted this part. So now I'm gonna move the frame a little to this side, so it's not all over my picture. So drag it to an area I want and let it go. And then I can move this face a little bit down so it can show. Okay, so I have now 4 layers, as you can see over here. So I have the background and then the faces and the frame. Now I'm gonna add some text. So I'm gonna do my horizontal text. I'm gonna go to menu and say characteristics, so I can have these little box, so I can choose what type of letter I want to use, the size, the color of the letters. I use a little Lyle, and then I want all uppercase letters, so I click on that and then click whenever I want my text to be, and I'm gonna do Winwood, which is the place I took these pictures from. Oh, but I want it all uppercase, so let me do all uppercase, enter. Okay. Now I click. I want crisp. And I click OK. Oop, something happened. I'm gonna type it again here. Winwood. Now I have my text, which is another layer on top of all the other layers. I'm gonna make it active, and I'm gonna use my gradient tool to change the gradient of the colors. And then I'm gonna go bottom to top. There we go. And then I'm gonna use my move tool, not this one. I'm gonna use my move tool to change the position of those of that text. I'll grab my text and put it on. Let me grab it and put it on top of this, or maybe to the left a little. Yeah, it'll look better on there with the yellow instead of the dark blue or the light blue. And this is it. This is my postcard using Photoshop. So I'm gonna go to my menu and save it. Go to menu and file, save as, and I'm gonna do exploration tool and save it on my desk. This is a recap of the pictures I took. They were taken at Wynwood in the Art District of Miami. The face, the girl, Poseidon, and then the entrance to the walls of Wynwood. And then our last work, the postcard.